And I think we're live. Yes, yes. Sabaho, everybody. Sabaho, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is December 26th. In some parts of the world, it's actually Boxing Day. This is the day where everybody gets to enjoy their Christmas gifts. And of course, in the US, it's actually the day after Christmas. And I hope you guys had a great and safe holiday. And hopefully, everybody's doing great. Today is actually kind of like a nice little closeout for the year. It's episode 52 of Saturday Morning with Tech, with yours truly, TK Bay, of course. And today we're actually going to be rounding up the end of the year. This is by far the last Saturday in this year. So by next week, obviously, it'll be 2021. Hopefully, I would say hopefully a better, more prosperous and safer year than what we had or what we all experienced in 2020. That's the best way to start off this episode. Also, what I wanted to share with you guys today is a super exciting unboxing of, and I'm sure I'm not like the last person, but I'm hoping I'm the only one that has the entire package. But essentially, this is a limited edition Cyberpunk 2077. As you guys know, big fan of the game. Been playing it for a while now, and I finished it through the first round, and now I'm actually going through the second round in the corp side. But again, very, very nice. We're going to get a chance to unbox it and check out all the cool little options and things that come through. Vince is in the comments. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the chat. I'm not sure if the chat's going to be behaving. We'll see. But with that being said, I will basically start off by doing a little bit of a roundup of how things have been basically for us here for the channel. I wasn't going to do an actual roundup this year. Didn't want to do an actual episode just to cover overall, just to close out for the end of the year. El Josa's in the comments as well. Michael Forte as well. Good afternoon. I guess it's really, I shouldn't say Saturday morning anymore. It's 11 o'clock. It's practically lunchtime. But yes, the year itself actually has been a very interesting year for everybody. Everybody in the YouTube space. Good morning, Sabaho Bob. And the overall experience that we saw this year essentially is a year of caution, a year of things to basically, there was a lot of stress. A lot of people were very concerned this year. But with that being said, there wasn't all sorts of conversations being that way. There was always things. There are things that we were able to rely on, discover improvements in certain telecommunication type of sectors, and of course, many different things that helped us do better. Seraphine's in the chat. Hello, good morning. Matt Tyler, good morning. Sabaho, my friend, and of course, yeah, Michael. Yeah, I should say Saturday afternoon, morning, or evening, depending where you are with tech. Ali is Masao. Ali's even saying that it's even evening, obviously, depending where you are. Good afternoon from Glendale, Arizona. Oh man, so we have Glendale, California, which we also have Glendale, Arizona here, but I think we are the same time zone. And Joe's, of course, in the comments with us. Merry Christmas, Joe. I love that. I love the little Santa emoji there. And the overall kind of thing that's going on with this year, obviously, we had a lot of things going on. YouTube had its own development. We had things going on with, there was no more shows. Everything is virtual. Everybody's doing their own virtual little piecemeal events. Samsung had like literally almost 4 or 5 different unpacks this year just to be able to announce just their own things on their own. Apple had the similar kind of situation. Kansas City, Missouri, Michael, hey, man, good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. I keep forgetting. I missed the last 2 of these because of work, not missing this one. Appreciate it, man. I always appreciate Matt and Joe and everybody else joining us, John as well, and everybody else taking their time to just hang out with us here on this Saturday. So I'll say this, the Cyberpunk edition phone was something that was a very interesting surprise because I didn't know it was coming, or at least when it was coming. I reached out and I said, hey, I would love to be able to check it out. And of course, the conversation kind of went, well, let's see what we could do. And that kind of went with the wind. And then, of course, the holidays came and I figured, well, nothing happens. I'll probably check back with them later on. And then lo and behold, literally Christmas Eve, FedEx drops off a box. I'm like, okay. And of course, the Cyberpunk edition is in there. Just one thing I want to give you guys a heads up. This is I guess obviously it's a limited edition, but it's also not an international edition of the phone. As far as I understand correctly, this is a China version only. So device was intended to be released in China. And I really hope I'm hoping that basically OnePlus sees all the demand, all the excitement around the phone, especially from the outside markets and so on. Since Cyberpunk 2077 is really an international type of a game, really, and I feel like limited edition devices like these from OnePlus are always exciting. So we'll get a chance to check that out. There's a lot of pins that come with it, and I'm thinking there's a few additional things coming up with it as well. So one of those things we'll get a chance to jump into that. But one thing we'll have to say is that 2020 brought back the live stream for me. That was something that I've done Saturday mornings with tech for years, but it's always been a one-off kind of an episode. And through a conversation with Carlos and, of course, the whole Amazon thing that I was doing at the beginning of the year, it kind of flourished and it became its own thing. So now, obviously, every Saturday morning we hang out, we get a chance to chit-chat and talk a little bit. Yeah, and Matt's exactly right. Yeah, the OnePlus 8T concept phone that we saw over on XDA earlier this week, that had the color changing back. I love the fact that OnePlus is not scared of creating unique concept devices. At the beginning of the year, they started off heavily. They started off on a really big stepping there with the McLaren edition with the built-in ND filter glass. That's the glass on the back of the phone that changes and goes from transparency to basically full-on black, basically essentially turning on and activating and deactivating an ND filter functionality on the back. Now, unfortunately, that device never became an actual phone that we could pick up. It was basically a concept phone. I was hoping there would be something similar to that around CES this year. I reached out, but it seems like there isn't much going on from OnePlus this year, being with CES. And I think companies are a little bit more interested to see how CES functions when it's online only. So CES is still going to happen. Joe's like, my team is actually winning a game, and they scored 3 goals. And now TK, today is best Boxing Day ever. Absolutely. So it is. It depends on where you are. Boxing Day is the day after Christmas, so it's something that is depending on where you are. You get to enjoy certain things like that. Sabaho, Greg is in the comments again. Matt Tyler's like, we lost. So yeah, so totally, really, really cool. I want to say thank you again very much to OnePlus for allowing me to check it out. It is a loaner. Sadly, it is not something that I will be able to keep, although I was very much fighting for it. It is running Hydrogen OS, not Oxygen OS. That's another thing that we'll get a chance to dive into it. So we'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about that. Channel overall did pretty well. I want to say thank you very much, and we're blessed, of course, and the fact that even these times we were able to do pretty well. We grew about 50,000 subscribers since the beginning of the year, roughly. So we started around 100. We're right now roughly hovering around 151, which is really nice. The Arabic channel also similar situation. It did really nice, thank God, and everybody's enjoying the content in both languages, so it's interesting. And that one crossed about 40K, so it's not bad. It's definitely on its way. And without your help, without your support, showing up every week on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, all of those things, obviously, it's as a community, we're always growing together. And then, of course, at the end of the year, we started up a new podcast with Juan Carlos and myself, the Best of Our Week episode channel. And I'm not sure, but I think we may be migrating that show to be on its own channel. I'm not sure if this hosting it on my channel and so like my YouTube and his Twitch makes sense for both of us, since technically it's really its own product. It's not intended to be a replacement for my show or a replacement for his. It's its own thing. So we may be breaking that up, but I was able to grab the socials at least for that one. So in case we do decide to do that, it'll be something nice. I do. And that's one thing I want to talk to Juan about, that is the timing of it. Although if you did catch our Wednesday show, it was a very impromptu guest showing up, hanging out, turned out to be a 2.5, almost 3 hour show. Davin Davis, good morning. It's one of those, it was one of those surprises where, Josh is like, hey, let me jump in. And I'm like, okay, here you go. Here's the link. And he jumped in. And then before you knew it, we literally we were almost at a 3-hour mark. And it was like, it went for, the show was supposed to go for about an hour and so on. Happy holidays to you as well, Davin. So with that being said, it was a lot of fun. And I think it's definitely something that could see its own, and it flourishes and builds on its own. So I think that's probably going to be the goal that we're shooting for, is making this as its own entity, not necessarily something that lives on a channel, like one of our channels directly. But again, Vince Nova, yeah, Wednesday it was a really nice late show. It was really, really super fun. Juan and Josh and I have individually hung out with each other over the years, and have never been able to work it out physically or time-wise to be able to get all of us together. That is not in a, I would say, like in a show event where we're going somewhere to work. And those are a little harder because you get to see each other, but you're most of the time head down, kind of doing your thing. Oh, Rolando's in the chat as well. Good morning. Just passing by, say hi. I'll try to catch up later. Of course, man. Of course. Hope be safe and hope you're doing well. Look out actually for Rolando's show next week. He's working on a nice new show that he's hyping up everybody on it. So it'll definitely be interesting to check that out. Yeah, it was a fun show. It was definitely a fun show. So again, very nice. Thank you again to everybody for hanging out and doing everything with us. I did start a little bit later this morning because I was trying to figure out some things in ER 1980, of course. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sabahu ahlan ahlan. Everybody, oh man, look at that. Max Lee is going to be sending me more phone, TK. Okay, Greg's going to be getting more phones so I can keep up with the custom ROMs. I think he meant to say custom ROMs, not rims. If you're getting custom rims, Joe, you got to hook it up. Sorry, Greg, you got to hook it up. You got to hook up the rims. But I think you meant custom ROMs. Yeah, Shrot. Hey, good morning, man. Good morning. So I'm not gonna waste too much of your time. We're gonna dive in real quick into the unboxing. I knew what you meant, Greg. But with that being said, again, a lot of things going on this year. And hopefully there's some light and there's some hope for 2021. So my hope essentially is that you're spending a safe holiday time. You're being with your family, obviously, and that you're able to basically, enjoy as much as possible, the Christmas gifts and the unboxing day, and of course, getting everything set up correctly. For me, it was very nice, very quiet. We hung out in the house. We literally ended up watching, so obviously, Wonder Woman 1984, and of course, there was Soul, the two big movies that released on Christmas Day, and it could not have been better timed movies to be released because obviously everybody's at home, internet. And was my biggest worry on that day, honestly, was the sheer demand on the servers for HBO as well as for Disney, with the amount of subscribers that they have and how many people would want to watch that movie. So a release that's online with such a big demand, where everybody, for the majority, I would say, of the subscriber base on both of those platforms, they were going to basically watch either Wonder Woman 1984 or they're going to be watching Soul. So the servers were definitely taxed, and there was no hiccup, no word of any issues. So that was very, very nice. I was very, very happy with that part. So here, let's start looking real quick into some of those questions. I think Joe's answering that, and Kuldeep is in the comments. What do you do after reviewing phones? So that's an interesting question. So 59 Yashrot is asking, what do you do after you're reviewing phones? So most of the phones that you see on the channel, I would say the rule more rather than the exception, are loaners. So those are devices that I get to try out, use for a certain amount of time, and then they end up going back. Some devices that I pick up on my own. So if I, let's say, buy them at that point, once I'm done with them, I turn them over, sell them, and then I buy new phones with that money. So the short answer is it's a cycle process. I don't benefit from keeping phones for an extended amount of time unless generally if I'm buying something, I may keep it for a year. And I say that mostly because I want to be able to do a video with it on my next cycle, meaning, the next edition of it, then I'll keep. But in general, though, with like most devices, like Cyberpunk phone, for the most part, it's a loaner. I have to return that phone once I'm done with it. I don't have a long time with it, which is interesting because I do have a OnePlus 8T. So it's not like I don't have the 8T. This is a very limited edition 8T with custom, not only theme, hardware, casing, pins, the whole package. And again, this is a very nice phone. So to shortly kind of describe what I do, it depends. But in theory, everything kind of cycles through. So either I buy it or I got it as a loaner, and at that point it goes back. There are some devices that I tend to keep a little bit longer, like I said, just because I want to be able to do the follow-up phone on those things. Let's see here. Oh, Donald, Salah TK. I'm writing on the pen from the LG V60. Does this pen work? Okay, does this pen work? Wacom Bamboo Ink Plus Smart Stylus for Windows Ink enabled 2-in-1 devices. The Bamboo pen is a pen that's enabled to work with Windows devices that support pen input. So it should be able to work just as easily as a standard Surface pen. So you should be able to exchange one or the other. As long as it's the battery-powered one, then it should be fine. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of which, let me Matt, 1 second. So I wanted to show you guys my new shirt. My wife got me this one for Christmas. It's obviously, as you know, Goku at the end of every fight, he likes to have his meal. So of course he's eating, he's enjoying, he's very, very happy. You get the nice little shirt there going on. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so Lucas is saying, still rocking those lit Dragon Ball merch. Always Dragon Ball. If you guys have known me since the beginning, Dragon Ball is a big part of what I like to do. And actually, the site even makes decisions for me if I'm trying to buy a console, if it supports the Dragon Ball games that I like. Matt saying, I'm so jealous of you guys getting Wonder Woman on demand, HBO Max, not available in the UK, and VPNs don't work as a USA bank. Details required. Okay, very interesting. So essentially, even if you do VPN on an account that works in the UK, you would actually have to have an account paying for that account. So your payment method has to have a US-based service. So HBO is doing their job to try to circumvent that. But if I remember right, Matt, I think it's going to be releasing within the next couple of weeks, right? That's on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that's going to be one of those. And Greg's mentioning, so Greg's asking, have you tried Cinema HD version 2? Not yet. And I'm not Cinema HD. I'm not actually familiar which one that is, Greg, if you don't mind letting me know. TK still debating returning the AirPod Max post review. Once I'm done with the review, I'll have to make a decision. I don't think I'll probably be returning them. If anything, I may end up just selling them. I don't think it's a. I'm sure. So here's the thing: there's in such short demand that even if I sold them for the original price, I'll probably get my money back either way. I'm not looking to make money off of it. I'm okay with them. I like the fact that they are a different build. So there's a thing going on for them that I would say none of the other cans that I'm actually listening to or reviewing are providing me. It's really mostly the build quality. The build quality on the AirPod Max is definitely very nice when it comes to the actual ear cups on both sides. There's some flaws in the design, but yes, I don't think the AirPod Maxes are things that I think I would like to keep. I think those are headphones that I was intrigued into trying, and the performance that I'm getting out of them is just not at the level that I was expecting $600 pair of headphones to give me. I'm enjoying quite a bit. The XM4s are $279 now, but they were like at one point for $270 on Amazon, on Best Buy, and so on for basically a holiday sale, and they are so much better. So for me, AirPod Maxes are not going to be what I keep. Aditya's in the chat. Sabaho, hey man, good morning. Hope you're doing well. We are. Thank God we are doing well. We're home. We're sheltering in place. We're taking it easy, and we're trying to stay as much as possible away from big crowds. So we go for walks, we hang out, but it's generally just a nice, quiet, family Christmas and end of the year, of course. Let me see here. Peter Nabil is in the comment. Hey man, good morning. Joe, I've got much catching up to do on YouTube and podcasts. I can imagine, Joe. It's the holidays and everything, people traveling, hanging out with families, of course. Always going to be a situation where we need some time to kind of catch up on some stuff. So there's always a lot of things going on. So Peter's jumping in with a question on the OnePlus 9. The OnePlus 9. So we all saw the leaks. There's apparently somebody on eBay that's looking to sell an early prototype version of a OnePlus 9, and it looked, at least from the leaks that we saw, obviously a new design on the camera setup on the back, but they didn't mention anything about the processor, the camera setup, and so on. The short answer, it looked like a flat display, so it looked like they're going away from the curved edges from what we saw with the OnePlus 8 this year, because the 8 this year was the closer to the 8 Pro, where it was essentially just a smaller version on the sides and as far as the aesthetic. So that was one thing I was interesting to see, because in 2020, only the OnePlus 8T, this guy, actually came with a flat display. The OnePlus 8 did not. And of course, this is going to be running Oxygen OS, probably running Android 11 out of the box. There's no question about that part. As far as the processor, it's a pretty safe bet to say that it's going to be running the 8888. There's no question as to OnePlus not liking to use Qualcomm chipsets. They've been using Qualcomm for many, many years, ever since they started. So at the very, very least, What we saw, I think, in the image itself, that it said it was an 8 gig of RAM, 256 storage, probably the 888. The sensor, there's a good chance it's probably going to be the same, the 48 megapixel, maybe an up to 64. So essentially, what we're looking is an upgrade into what we saw last year. Nothing indicated us that it was going to be a much higher sensor, with the exception of the way the design was done. So that's pretty much what we have right now. But we are very close in the timing of announcements. So we're probably going to be hearing Samsung first. OnePlus, if anything, won't be releasing anything in January. It'll more than likely be something closer to maybe February, March timeline. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But it looks interesting, and definitely very, very much the design change from OnePlus. At least if this prototype is truly a final prototype. Because if we've learned anything from OnePlus over the years, is at least what we saw with the OnePlus 8T, or not OnePlus 8T, I think it was a OnePlus Nord, is they go through many prototypes before they release the final version, and there's no rhyme or reason for us to believe that what we saw right now is the final version. This could be just one of many different prototypes that they decided to send it to one of their testers, which apparently is bad enough that he or she decided to sell it. Oh, the free movie content. I'll have to check it out. I didn't get a chance to check that out. Sorry, Greg. And then the Google Fuchsia. So the Fuchsia project, going open source, going with development to get support from developers to actually help the progress on the development for that OS, is something that's very unique. This is Google's way of saying, look, we're interested in this. We want to have it. We want to keep it going, but we just don't have the resources. We don't see that there is enough of a demand. And it's been going on for quite some time, if you know. So we've seen, I think, long time ago, early screenshots, just UI elements of Fuchsia OS, but we never really saw it fully running on a device. So hopefully this can actually happen. There could be a chance that we may start seeing hardware running Fuchsia OS in hopefully 2021. But I'm not sure if there's going to be a big push to have that replace or become the standard. It's too early at this stage. I think I may have missed a couple. Okay, so I'm going to pivot off of Joe's comment just to kind of go in and just kind of talk about just a little bit with Wonder Woman 1984. Without any spoilers, obviously this is not a spoiler. This is a spoiler-free experience. I watched the movie first time, and I'm in the process of watching it again. I want to watch it again and want to absorb a lot of things. Because like when you watch a movie, you tend to miss certain parts. And I have to say, the fact that it's included in HBO Max, it's just a super plus, because I can watch a brand new released movie over and over and over, and I'm not having to pay a full $15 every time I watch it, because that's how much it would have cost if we saw it at the theater. I think the initial impressions of the movie was very, very positive for me. I liked the elements that they were trying to do, the buildup of the story. What we ended up doing is on Christmas Eve, as we were just hanging out and trying to get things done for the day, we ended up rewatching the first Wonder Woman, not the Justice League. We just watched the first one just to kind of have that whole, I would say the storyline continue. So short answer, I actually liked it. I want to say that it's not as, if you had to compare the first one to the second one, I still think the first one is definitely a lot better, but there's a lot to understand and to basically peel away and trying to get more conversation going from this one. This showed us a different side of Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman that was going through a different part of the experience, part of life. So we're no longer in World War I. Now it's obviously in 1984. So all of that without a single spoiler. So with that being said, Joe, I'm glad that you liked it. And we'll have to see. Greg is recommending Turbo VPN, Matt. So Greg, I think the concern that's going on isn't the VPN, it's the account. The account that they're using has to have a US bank account assigned to it. And if it's not a US bank account, which means it cannot be paid, it was not started in the US, hence you can't watch it even with a VPN. So there's different things going on with that one. Let me hear. We talked about Google Fuchsia. Let me double check. I think I jumped on it. Oh man, I didn't realize I was going through. Okay, so Davin jumped in real quick here. I didn't think you would keep them. Maybe Gen 2 is better to semi justify the price. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was. I think it more of. I think it just overall as a business, when you think of it in the sense, because what we see here, obviously, on the channel is really more of a cycle or a business process of how long and how what to keep and what to get and what to recycle and go through. But when it came to the AirPod Max, I think I I wanted to be impressed. I really wanted them to be the headphones that I end up using, because so what'll happen with them is, generally, because it's Apple, for the rest of the year, whatever new pairs of headphones over the year or on-ear headphones come out, they're going to be measured against the AirPod Max. For some reason, not that they're the standard, but because of the, again, I wouldn't say the SEO or any kind of search functionality that YouTube likes to play. So that was the rationale behind why I decided to pick them up. I always thought that this was going to be basically, well, so this is Apple's standard, and how does it compare to the rest of the bunch? But I have to accept the fact that my channel doesn't do very well with Apple products, and I don't really want to, tie up that much money. $600 is $600. That's a lot of money for anybody. So to tie it up with a pair of headphones that I really don't see myself using beyond my reviews time, I think selling them would be the best situation. And if I do decide to get them again, maybe I'll pick them up again used at some point. But at this point, at least, yeah, I'm not very much. I would say I'm not as attached to them as I am with the XM4s. Or speaking of which, we also have the Huawei Studio headphones also that just showed up a couple of days ago. So yeah, turning into a channel of headphones very, very soon. Greg loved watching the original Wonder Woman. Same here. Same. And good. Yeah. Oh, Aditya. Sorry, I thought you said happy birthday. I wasn't sure. Okay, let's see. So Manish Kumar is asking, what are your thoughts on the MediaTek Dimensity 1000 processor? It has an N22 score between the Snapdragon 855 Plus and the Snapdragon 865. The Realme 7X Pro has that processor, and I'm planning on buying it. What are your thoughts on the processor? So performance-wise, if we're just going based on numbers, obviously unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play with the Dimensity 1000 processors, but performance, if it's anything between the 855, the 865, so obviously it's within the last couple of years performance-wise, it should be able to run almost anything you want on the market. I think the main limitation that you probably want to see is how much RAM does that device have, and so you said this is Realme, so it's running basically, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Realme is part of Oppo, so that should be the Color OS version of it. Should be pretty nice, as long as it gets Color OS 11. If I'm not mistaken, I think overall, actually, I take that back. I have used an Oppo device with a Dimensity chip, but it's not the 1000. It's the R15. Sorry, the F17 Pro that just came out. And that runs a Color OS 11. So I think overall, there shouldn't be any reason why this device doesn't do well for you. I think the main thing that you want to keep in mind is it right for what you need? Is the price fitting your budget? And of course, does it fit all the needs, technical needs that you need out of it? Obviously the display size, the camera performance, the battery capacity, and so on. So those are the things you want to look into. But Realme generally are well priced, and of course, more bang for the buck. So I wish you the best with that one. Joe's jumping in with flat displays for the win. I agree. When it comes down to gaming and so on with devices like these, I think flat devices definitely have a much better advantage because you get more of the surface to play with, because when your display curves, generally those curved edges are not necessarily playable areas. So overall, I think it depends. It really, really depends. And there is still a chance that that might not even be the actual OnePlus 9 that we saw there. That could be just an early prototype. It is a OnePlus 9, but not necessarily the OnePlus 9. So TK, what did you get anything nice for Christmas? So actually getting things, I pretty much got this shirt and I got a few other little trinkets my family got me. It was really more about hanging out with the family and kicking it. I tried to disconnect as much as possible yesterday. I was online a little bit every once in a while, but seriously, it was just a day of relaxation. Everything was closed. There's nowhere to go. There's nobody to, go do things and whatever and all of that stuff. So for me, it was more about just hanging out and, seeing my son enjoy his time. He got a brand new Naruto and Naruto Baruto's game on the Xbox One X, so we got a chance to sit down and play with him together. Got him some new skins for Fortnite. He was having fun. And there's a weird way to enjoy life through your child, and those things do a very big part of that. So getting him to enjoy his Christmas just builds up the whole excitement. So for me, that's the best gift ever. So yeah, no, very nice, and I love my shirt. I definitely love my shirt. Definitely, yeah, definitely. Okay, so. Majid's asking why she's ليه بتحكي بالانجليزي. So just one quick thing, I'll respond back to ماجد real quick. القناه هيدي بالانجليزي ماجد، عشان هيك بتحكيها بالعربي. القناه العربيه ما عندي البودكاست عليها هونيك، بس ان شاء الله بقرب نبلشها من قريبا. هيدي بس بالانجليزي. And in short, just basically repeating what I just said to Majid, essentially is that this is the English channel. I don't have a podcast just going on the Arabic channel, but hopefully I'll be able to start something there soon. But that's one of the things. And I شكرا ماجد لانك جيت على القناة كمان. Thank you for coming on this one. Joe, speaking of which, Joe, so how was your Advent calendar's experience? Did you enjoy it? That daily brew that you kept posting online and talking about every day? Which one's your favorite? Anytime, Peter, anytime. All of these, we're all hanging out. We're just kicking it. Oh man, look at that. Greg is coming in, connecting everybody. Obi-Wan Aditya, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes. You, Joe. Okay. So here, JJ saying, so Wonder Woman 1984 has been getting some flack right now, especially since Snyder has been on the bigger part of this movie. Yes, there's, if you guys haven't heard yet, there is the Snyder Cut Justice League remake that's going to be coming out in 2021 with a lot of extra scenes. I mean, basically, it's whatever you think the original Justice League movie was, they're remaking it, and it's going to look so much better. I think the overall performance and everything in the movie was, I think people were expecting different things out of it, and with the delay, there was the expectation that kept building up and going more and more. But it's not a bad movie. It's an enjoyable movie. It's a little bit long, but it's not necessarily something that, if you're a fan of there's a series, if you're a fan of DC, this is definitely going to feed into that story. And it is pretty much centered around, Wonder Woman, her experience in 1984. And of course, Cheetah, which doesn't play a big role in the movie, but definitely Kristen Wiig, I think overall character development was very nice. She did a very good job of portraying that character and the evolution of how that character became. So I like it. I like it very nice. And like I said, it's definitely one of those you want to watch one at least more than once. Yash, good night, man. Good night. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. It is 1 a.m. That's why I said it depends on where you are. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good night, man. Thank you for stopping by. And yeah, let me double check here. Yes, tons of movies for free. Here. So Donald jumping in, TK, your wife and your sons don't know how, when it comes to tech, they don't have to steer. They have you to steer them correctly. I try, and I think that's one thing Juan and I talked about on the podcast over on I think was it Wednesday. It's like, did tech influence our gift giving in life? And I think for me that's always the situation. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm actually giving something or whatever, my goal is always to make things do more, be better, improve the experience. So it's always tech related. But yes, and my hope is that Omar growing up will also have a very big part of that. And my wife is also did go to school for that as well. So it's a tech savvy environment in the home. So yeah, always doing well. Okay, Joe. So I don't usually drink every day, but it was really nice to try different beers on every evening. I enjoyed documenting it on my socials as much as I did drinking them. I love getting creative. No, absolutely. I waited every night just to see what is the next beer can of that are going to be coming out, and it's very interesting to see these type of advent calendars. I missed out on the Dragon Ball one. There was one left. And it was just too expensive for an advent calendar. It was like about $60, and I just couldn't justify that at the same time as we were getting something for my son. So, short answer, yeah, definitely a very interesting experience, and I'm glad that you got to enjoy it. And I'm sure a lot of us enjoyed watching the continuous updates that we got, which was very nice. Greg is jumping in with the giving some recommendations there. So Aditya comes in. The Justice League Snyder Cut is going to be interesting. A lot of behind the scenes drama happening then. Of course, Wyndham melded with Snyder was a poor, yeah. amalgamation. Snyder Cut might make it feel more cohesive at best. We'll have to see how it does. Yeah, for the part for all the press that they've been going through, I'm looking forward for them to show us, how they were able to augment the experience, because again, we've had that movie for quite a while, and I know we've watched it here many times. So anything they can do to fix it or to improve the conversation, I think will always be better. This recent movie release is a good reminder to make sure you adjust your TV accordingly. Turn off motion blur and such extra processing. It depends on your TVs. You're right. You would definitely enjoy it more if you're having something. If you're not tuning it for gaming, if you want to basically tune it correctly. And of course, if you don't have a purely dark room, go for the bright room. So for me, we wanted to actually watch it on the projector that I reviewed not that long ago, but currently not the setup in our living room wasn't conducive to that. So we'll have to see, but definitely, thank you. Geeky Nassim is saying, really happy to see you doing live streams every week. Keep it up. Thank you, TK. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us as well. Davin is TK. How do you feel about the fiasco surrounding Cyberpunk? So Cyberpunk has been going through some interesting conversations and interesting situations. So if you guys haven't heard, both PlayStation and Xbox started issuing refunds for Cyberpunk. PlayStation removed Cyberpunk from the PlayStation Store, so you couldn't buy the digital version at least. And they were issuing refunds for anybody that were providing refunds for anybody that wanted it. The short answer is it's a dilemma of a conversation, because at the end of the day, they should have fixed all of this in advance. This should not be the situation. They kept postponing it. A lot of people were hoping for it, and they finally released it. So it depends. And I have to say that I was on the PC side of this entire conversation. I was going in with the PlayStation 4 edition at one point, but based on a conversation with Joshua Vergara, the evening before the release, and he's like, dude, don't worry about it. Just, get it on the PC. You'll get to enjoy it a little bit more. RTX was always a big part of it, but it wasn't the only reason why I decided to go PC. I ended up getting my pre-order for the game through Amazon, and I picked it up directly on Steam. With the errors and with the hiccups and with the problems that went through, it wasn't so bad that it wasn't playable, and it wasn't so bad that I noticed that there was the same issues that we're having on consoles. There was degradation of quality images, processing, stutters, and specifically on the PS4 and the Xbox One, which were the ones that they were originally designed for, right? So the version for the Xbox was not for the Series X, and the one for the PlayStation wasn't for the PlayStation 5. They were essentially designed to work there. So it's a mess. That's the best way to say it. It's a mess. It shouldn't have gone this way. They should have tested it further. There's no reason for them not to be able to have seen all of these errors, all of these problems that everybody was dealing if they just booted it up on the actual system that they designed it for, that it wasn't just, I don't know if they tested it in an emulator or if they just tested it in an environment where it wasn't really running actual hardware from a PlayStation, that emulated experience. So the short answer, it's a mess. It is getting fixed. We are up to, I want to say, patch update 1.06 that was released a couple of days ago. 1.05 fixed 90% of the issues. So my hope essentially that it's getting better. I don't know if you guys are playing it or you're fans of it, but we'll definitely jump into that. The advent calendar was was actually a birthday present from my sister back in September, but I couldn't warrant it buying it for myself. I like the advent calendars. When I was a kid, we used to do the chocolate ones. I don't know if you guys still have those. Essentially, it's like a little treat, a little toy, whatever. But essentially, it's like a very much just the standard advent calendar, and you get a little nice surprise every day. You get to open it up. But I'm loving the concept of doing other cool things like Dragon Ball beer, depending what you'd like, and making it into your own advent calendar. I think it's always nice. Have you had the latest Dragon Ball Super manga? The battle was pure chaos. I haven't caught up on the latest ones. Last one was on Bubble, and I think that was more of the Dragon Ball Heroes. But as far as the manga, I know there's a whole new saga that started, but I haven't started it. I want to give it some time so that when I start reading it, I'm actually catching up a little bit more. But I haven't had a chance to. I've seen some analysis online. I subscribe to a few channels that do the analysis on the manga. So definitely, yeah, I'm not totally oblivious on it, but I haven't been diving too much into it. Yeah, very true, Greg. Oh, of course, definitely. First and foremost, TK is a great. I appreciate it, Greg. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, Greg. I noticed that comment. I didn't get a chance to click that. Always. When you have kids, you'll see how life changes. It becomes truly an amazing thing. And I have to say that it it is very, very pleasing to have your son, your daughter, or your child essentially follow through in the steps that or enjoy the things that you enjoy. So for me, Dragon Ball is a very big part of who I am and growing up. And of course, having my son now go through that same process and enjoy Dragon Ball, Goku, Vegeta, and all of those is something that we can bond over, and really, really makes me very happy that I kept a lot of my toys. If you guys have ever done that, where you get toys and you keep them, and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to give this to my kid one day." It is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to hang out. So definitely very nice, and especially with Naruto. He's picked up on the Naruto right now, and he's big into that. So Christmas was pretty much Naruto heavy, and of course his overall experience was basically, even though he got Fortnite stuff and he got a chance to play with that, Naruto's the biggest thing going on. Matt's jumping in. Cyberpunk is getting so many passes through. Compared to Fallout and Anthem that got absolutely slammed. And that's an interesting dilemma, right? I mean, so it depends on the title and what people are expecting. I'm not sure why Cyberpunk didn't do it right. And I don't know why people are giving it, obviously the pass as much as, when they didn't focus on some of the other, I would say, I'm not going to say botched releases, but I was going to say the misorganized, just badly organized the releases that we've seen in the past. So those are generally my problem. And I think what I really would have wished is that they had tested it. I think if they just booted up the Xbox One or booted up a PS4 with that game on the disc, they would have seen all of these problems, because it's not like it was like, only a couple of people had it. No, it was seriously a big problem with current gen, which we were designed for. The games were sold as PS4 and Xbox One games, not PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. So I'm not sure why that situation's kind of going through there. LGH Dijoitma. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. The PC version has problems as well, but with all the complex controls, I think the gameplay too convoluted seems an outcome of a process meant for last gen, then kept adding stuff. I truly believe the timing of it is where they kind of had the problem. It was released after the release of a new gen, but it was released for the current gen, or the I would say the standard gen, the PS4 and Xbox One, but it wasn't tuned for it. They were trying too much to, how do we make it work for the next one? That they didn't really go back and make sure that whatever they were doing wasn't breaking what they were doing for the first gen. Because people that played it on the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, and the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 had less problems, not impervious. And I mentioned it before. The PC wasn't immune from any of these mistakes or any of these glitches. I had a few glitches in there that looked really weird, where what's her name? One of the characters that was helping me in the middle of the game, I'm not going to mention names if you guys haven't played it that long. In the middle of the game, there was a glitch. We were in the middle of the desert. We were trying to catch up to a few people that were running ahead of us. And literally the bug caused her character to be about 20 feet above me, walking as if she's walking next to me, interacting with me as if she's next to me. But it was totally the UI, the system didn't recognize it. So it was very surreal, and it's something that shouldn't have happened. But yeah, PC was not immune by any chance. But let me double check real quick here. Oh, sorry, we'll come back here. So Joe's actually jumping on that pretty good, because if I'm not mistaken, Rolando has mentioned that the Stadia one had the least problems. It did have initial problems, and when they first turned it on, there was some concerns. But then after that, that was the one that ran the best with the least amount of issues, according to the users. And I think Rolando played it on Stadia, so that's one of the better ones. Let me double check here. Consumers need to understand that this is also an outcome of people accepting that they are used to be basically beta testers. Same things with loot boxes. The fix is just to buy it instead of complaining about it. And I think at the end of the day, we're used to it. Windows got us used to this. Windows inherently over many years of releases, and 2 days later patch updating the actual software got us into the understanding that nothing is ever finished by the time it's released. It's always yes, you are the initial beta testers, early adopters, people that pre-order, and everybody else that waits a little bit gets a little bit better in experience because all of the errors and mistakes that we find get incorporated as a patch update, but we have to go through the pain and the motion. And of course, that's what's generating a lot of the, I would say, a lot of the verbiage, a lot of the words that we see online on social media. But I agree. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those things you have to appreciate and play it again. Dude, congrats! I'm sorry, Greg. I never asked, but hope the kids are doing well. I know it was snowing for you, so you guys definitely got a white Christmas there. We have a sun and maybe some rain. Um, sorry, real quick here. Is there any other company apart from Nokia whose phone comes out with Android One program? So Motorola is the other one. Xiaomi killed their their series phones and Android One program. Please don't include Motorola Assistant. I love how I started the conversation. I said the Motorola, and then by the time I got to the end, so Motorola's, yeah. So I think they're one of the only two companies that are actually releasing still Android One. Google at one point was talking about it, but I don't think they actually released any main devices. But as far as I understand, they're the only two. And the reason why I mentioned the word, they're skinned. They're not necessarily running pure Android One, but they definitely basically one of the other manufacturers in there. And even Nokia still does some optimizations for their Android One versions. So no true version of it. But unfortunately, I don't think that there's many companies that are still releasing it or supporting it. And I'm sad to see that Xiaomi did end up canceling that. I'm not sure if it's the demand or they just want to make sure that people stay with their. Let me see here. Aditya is in there. I am the child in my family, despite having a younger brother. Oh my God. Well, it depends, right? Being the child in the family is not necessarily a bad thing. It's always cool because you get the attention, you get the things that you want. But I feel like just being in a loving family is the biggest part that we can always appreciate. Being there for each other, being there when we need each other, and of course, trying to stay in touch when we can't be together in person. Oh man. Always. Let me see here. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, if I missed anything, we'll definitely jump into. Oh, here, I'll just jump in and say, Windows nowadays is basically a subscription to a series of patch releases. That's what it is. It is. It's sad, and I'm laughing at it, but I'm kind of like crying on the inside a little bit for it, because it truly always feels. And this is one of the things. Like, if you've ever done this before, my recommendation I would say is this: if you ever, if you always update your drivers to, let's say, NVIDIA drivers or even AMD drivers. The first thing I would probably say, if you use your system for anything that is production level, meaning you do work with this, not necessarily just gaming and just casual gaming and browsing and all of that stuff. Never update to the latest version of anything on a driver before you know if this doesn't break something in your current system. I've had this over time where NVIDIA releases a new driver, but Adobe hasn't optimized for this driver, and suddenly my GPU rendering stops working. Or somehow Adobe Premiere crashes because the GPU somehow the update didn't get vetted all the way, or there is an update to Adobe that hasn't been pushed out. That's sitting on the beta channel but not sitting on the primary channel, or the public channel, which is where most of us are on. So Windows is the exact same situation. We buy or we install Windows, but in reality, I feel like Windows is easier. Well, it's easy to skip window updates as it comes out and download it later on. Where when you're getting something, let's say it's a game, you're pretty much at whatever level the development or the developers felt that this was the line in the sand, that this is going to be the public release. But again, it is. I mean, the fact is now anybody that downloads or buys Cyberpunk has to wait for how many gig updates just to get them to the right patch level. So it's going to be one of those weird ones. We'll have to see. The game should have been delayed. So Matt's jumping in with the game should have been delayed. A game should never be released broken this badly. You shouldn't buy a game for future promises. That is true. And I think they delayed it for so long that I felt like, what was the reason that they needed to release it now, that they couldn't have waited another month and pushed out all of these updates together? Because at the end of the day, it wasn't like people were waiting for this regardless. If it came out at the end of 2020, at the beginning of 2021, I think sales would have been the same. I don't think the console releases did anything to help them or discourage people from buying the game. But I think at the end of the day, they should have released it in a functional state, not in a beta state, for us to give them the help to get it to where it needs to. Again, super easy process. If somebody at the development company just put it inside of a PS4 or an Xbox One, they would have seen where the problems are. Or even if they tested it on an actual PC gaming it, not just development testing. So Matt's jumping in with also, will you be getting hands-on with any of the Nokia insert long name here? Haven't had that much, I would say, success connecting with Nokia. I'm hoping to be able to cut into a relationship with them. So hopefully we'll see how that goes. I may ask Josh and see if I can borrow his Nokia, because I saw he just reviewed his, and I may be able to get some hands on there. Maybe we'll see what we can do. But I've been a big fan. Last time I did a review on or a hands on with a Nokia was with the Nokia 9, and I borrowed that from Juan, because I think Juan was one of the first people to buy it. So that was also very nice. So I know it's been a few minutes. So let's go ahead. Let me do this. I'm going to move my keyboard away, and we're going to switch over to overhead. And let's go ahead and start doing that hands-on and unboxing. Okay, my friend. So let's go ahead, Matt. Sorry, my friend. I will put this one away. And I'm going to move the mouse. Let's make this guy bigger. Hopefully without making it too big. And okay, so here we are. So I'll move this guy to the side. There's a few things going on. I have a few things working for the next videos. I got to put those away. Okay. Okay, my friend. So here we are. This is the Cyberpunk edition. So you first thing we'll notice, obviously, is the Cyberpunk 8, the OnePlus 8T Cyberpunk edition, and of course, it is 2077 here. OnePlus logo, as we could see. The box and the phone itself is actually in a case on the left. It's actually inside of a nice little plastic, kind of like the things you find at a store with a nice little hook. So it looks like it's intended to be in stores, like in retail stores. We see some nice little pins. So we have Valentino's, if you guys played the game. Of course, you see the peace sign, of course, with the OnePlus, the machine, Night City, of course, and different little options here. And then last but not least, here we have on the bottom, obviously featuring the 120 hertz refresh rate display that we have here. That's one of the main benefits of OnePlus 8T. And of course, the 65 watt warp charging, the first 65 watt charging smartphone from OnePlus of any kind. We've had warp charging before for 30 watts, but this is 65. So very similar to what we've seen from Oppo. And then last but not least, we'll notice here there's a few more like little emblems. So OnePlus, Cyberpunk, 8T, and then some more attention. Flipping it over on the back, we'll see that nice big koi fish sitting here that we see obviously in the middle of Night City. You never know the truth until the phone rings. It's very, very nice. And of course, we get the nice little, robotic mod installation type of a system. Last but not least, OnePlus and of course, Cyberpunk. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just open it up. So this kind of just slides off. You notice right there, there's no cap at the top. It's pretty much just slides off like this. And we actually, at that point, get access to the actual phone and, of course, the pins and nothing else on the inside. This one's actually pretty just clean. This is the backing of it. And let's go ahead and take the phone out. And oops, that opened up right there. And here are the pins. So to go over the pins and just see exactly what we have here. So we notice right there, there's a nice little robot. And then of course, Night City, of course, here. Hand, and then of course I can't see this one. This one says animals. I think that's just in animals. Looks like fangs, a nice little skull, and then of course we have Valentino's. It's again, of course, that if you played the game, Jackie's been part of that. End up being part of the team, and they're all removable. So here, like you can see, this one says Valentino's. Let me just remove this one. And it's a very nice, it's a two-piece connection. And of course, nice pins in the back. Very, very nice, very limited edition. And of course, easily worth just getting this edition alone. Now, I've been using it in the US. I've had the phones for about a couple of days now, and I did put in a SIM card. So we'll get a chance to check that out. Let me just move this to the left. And so you'll see OnePlus Cyberpunk 2077. And you can just basically open it up. And the first thing I wanted to show you guys, if you guys have played the game yet, is that you get basically a map of Night City. So the different areas of Night City, and of course you could see the different roads, the different options here. And there's like this nice little cross area in there, and you can see all of the different options. And of course, Cyberpunk, that's just permeating from the front all the way on the inside. So it's a very nice little option. Makes me want to keep all of this stuff and never return it. And of course, we have a nice little opening right there. So if you played the game, you're very familiar with this map. I appreciate that very much. And before I go too far, make sure I keep in touch with all of you guys here. I know there's a lot of comments coming in. Oh man, I think I just jumped like 20 different messages. Joey B, I don't know if it comes with stickers, but we'll definitely check. So let's go ahead and get to the box. Here on the left, we'll notice it says Cyberpunk 2077 limited edition. And of course, same thing. This one now it's inverted. It's a black on yellow. Sorry, yellow on black, where it was yellow the other way around. OnePlus, of course. And of course, just the same thing on that side. Nothing else on the east side. So let's go ahead and open it up. Again, same concept, just likes the colors here. Let's go ahead and take out the stickers and no more. Okay, let's see what we have here. So here we have the letter from Pete Lau. I think this is just the standard welcome letter. We have a SIM removal tool that's present right there on the inside. And of course, oh, nice. Oh, okay. This is nice. So remember, guys, this is the China only edition essentially. But you could see here the nice little mod that they have on the arm. It looks super nice. Slot 1, of course, Cyberpunk, and of course, just all of that. So that's a nice little poster that's inserted inside. Oops, don't want to damage that one. And unfortunately, everything else in here is in Chinese because, again, this was intended for that. But we'll get a chance to jump into the specifications. From a hardware standpoint, this is exactly the same as what we see with the OnePlus 8T, the international edition, with the exception of the software and, of course, well, I wouldn't say the mod, but the actual build quality, because that's very different. So that's what we get in here. And, of course, we have the warp charge. This one is the 65 watt warp charger, and US, and that's because of this Chinese plug. China connectors actually work pretty much the same in the US, so it works very nicely. So they include that one. Unfortunately, not Cyberpunk edition. Oh, here it is. Look at that. Look at that. It is super nice. So a nice little accent color right behind the volume rocker here. So this is not the actual buttons, but the buttons right there. The camera setup that we have here is pretty much the exact same one that we see here. So here we have the OnePlus 8T, and here's the Cyberpunk 2077 edition. The biggest difference, obviously, you'll notice is that the actual camera array, or the bump that's for the camera, crosses all around on the back. The nice little shimmer background here with the OnePlus logo in the back, Cyberpunk right there at the top, and of course, we have the 2077 option right there on the top right. On the left, similar way the way they have it on the other side. This is not the actual button, but the yellow is right next to the power button. Pushing it once, obviously, will turn on the display. Let's go ahead and boot it up. And I'll give it a second because it also includes a very custom boot animation. Right there. If you've ever loaded up the game, you know exactly what it is. It's going to load up the code. It's going to boot up. Get the system running, and of course, we need to put our pin. And I'll give it a second to finish, and of course, right there. So everything from the theme. So let's go ahead and turn it off, turn it on. From the theme on the device, cloud server updated later. We'll do that later. So you got the theme here. The yellow and black obviously just permeates throughout with the blue accent. T-Mobile, I have it running on T-Mobile. It does pick up 5G. The fingerprint sensor even has its own little custom fingerprint sensor, and of course the samurai background. And there's a couple other wallpapers in here, but they're not all specific to them. So if you go in here, you'll notice that there's these type of wallpapers. They're all Cyberpunk ones, but this was the only live wallpaper that we had. And I actually didn't need to save it, but it is in there. Google Play Store is on here, and I was able to get Gmail, of course, running on this. There's also some proprietary OnePlus applications. The panel itself, you'll notice that it customized all the options that you have in here. If I swipe down to About, the phone, as I mentioned, it's running Hydrogen OS version 11, so Android 11 in here, and it did receive one update. Hardware-wise, this is a 12 to 56 gigs of internal storage, the Snapdragon 865 with 5G. The camera sensors, as we've seen before, is the 48, 16, 5, and 2 megapixel quad camera setup, 120 hertz fluid AMOLED display, 6.55-inch display. Again, very similar to what we see here. Hardware-wise, it's the exact same panel. It's the customizations on the back, and of course, the software that make this device very, very unique. One thing I did want to show you guys real quick is when it charges, it actually also has a very interesting animation. So let's go ahead and put this in. I'm going to turn on the lock screen. And if I can actually plug it in. So even the animation booting up, like showing the loading section here, it says recording, boot up, and of course charges at the 65 watt using either the 65 watt that they included, or if you have another one, obviously, since I'm using it for my other device. So a lot of cool things, very, very nice. But that's not all of it. There's also some more things in the back. I think I may have just jumped it there. There's one more pin. This one is also Night City. This is very much, if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly the same pin. So they include two pins. The custom package that comes together here includes the original pin. But if you just bought the Cyberpunk one, you probably got this one in the back. Here, you get the additional customization options that are very, very nice. But they also include a case, which I'm really excited about. So here's the Cyberpunk 2077 case. I'll put this one down. Of course, matches the phone. If I put it correctly, it'll look really nice. So let's do that here. Boom, boom, and then boom. And you could see, so nice. Like the nice little line configuration, the yellow outline that goes all around, the shimmer of the word cyberpunk here. You can see the different accent, it's not just black all around. There's actually different options that are in there that help us just enjoy it and just, of course, get it all around. It's not present at the top, but definitely on the bottom. So again, very, very nice. I'm going to say very super limited edition. And if there's ever been a situation where you are a fan of Cyberpunk or a special edition device from a company, I feel like this is the one to do it. But let me see if I can get the sound for you guys. Wait, hold on. I don't have the slider up. Oh, yeah, I should unlock. So here. So if I unlock it, and then if I lock again, there's sound animations in there, and of course when you were charging it, when you were taking pictures and all of that. So it's definitely very, very nice. I'll be doing I'm gonna definitely be doing some videos on this. I didn't have enough time to be able to do some testing of it and see the major differences there. It is running 5G, and I was able to pick up 5G on T-Mobile here in the US, and I was able to get about, if I'm not mistaken, about 80 down. I want to say 80 down almost. Let me see here. Because I ran a speed test this morning. So here, yeah, 80 down, 40 up. So reasonable 5G connection here on T-Mobile. Okay, here. Yes. So Greg is asking, is there a charger in the box? Yes, this one actually does have a charger in the box. We haven't gotten to 2021, the year of no charger in the box. And I really, so Davin Dave, okay, so I think there was a conversation that kind of started with IR 1980. So Joey B, just for reference, it does not include any stickers. There was no stickers. I looked for them. What they did have essentially was that pin that was on the inside. That was the extra gift that was given. That nice little Sin City pin that you can see right there. So that was the one. But it seems like this package also included a whole slew of pins that came on the side. That was the one on the side that I really, really like. And I wish I could sell it. It's not mine. I think even if you bought it, I'm not sure if you'd be able to get this exact same package. This package seems to come with a whole bunch of extra stuff that were very, very unique to this, because it's so unique that it actually has two, which means this actually doesn't come normally like this. Davin says the unboxing makes me crave for the Porsche design phones. They're very unique. I have to say, Huawei and Porsche design has had, I mean, they've done Porsche design watches now. They're doing Porsche design glasses. They were doing Porsche design smartphones. I think they're taking the Porsche design to the next level. So I appreciate what Huawei does with their devices. So really, really nice. And I love special editions. I love special editions because they bring in a very unique experience. Oppo's done it in the past too with the Evangelion devices. They did a recent one that they for Arena of Valor with the Find X2, not the Pro model, but the Find X2. So always makes it very nice, very exciting, and I feel like they're really nice. But we tend to see them as regional specific. Like I think the Evangelion model Oppo was only available in Europe, and I want to say the League of Legends is only available in China, the same as this one. Although it works very nicely. So if you're thinking of importing it, it should work very nicely for you. And the ROM is, even though it's not Oxygen OS, as Hydrogen OS with Google Apps, should be able to work very nicely. IR is talking, okay, so speaking about chargers, I hear no chargers in the box for upcoming Xiaomi Mi 11s. And also we saw obviously Samsung jumping in on the boat on that little, I'm not sure what the point of it is. The cause for the chargers to be removed originally was started by Apple for Apple for Apple users. So originally Apple didn't release this and say we're going to take the charger from everybody's phone. They just took it out of their phones for their customers. So if you weren't buying an iPhone, you weren't supposed to be included in this conversation. What we're seeing here is that let's say Samsung, other companies or Xiaomi looking into it, and they're seeing it as a situation where it's becoming a norm. And at the end of the day, I think what we need is more them just listening to what the customers want to use. Technologies that are coming up right now, we're looking at faster charging, we're looking at more optimized charging, better battery health, better software management for our devices. Taking the charger that enables us to have that experience, the fast charging. An example, if this box came and it says support 65-watt charger, and I'm importing this from China since this is not a US version of this device, I would have to find somewhere that this is being sold separately and imported, because in general, I wouldn't be buying this from the main company. Because if it's sold in China for a China market, more than likely OnePlus's site will not ship outside of China. So that makes perfect sense in my mind. So the short answer is there's going to be a hindrance for people to be able to do these things. But removing the charger out of the box doesn't really change much, because we're still having to buy these chargers. These new chargers are not the same that we've had in the past. Apple's claim to everybody's has a charger sitting at home is a false claim. The charger that we've had in the past were 18-watt chargers or even slower than that. Don't charge our devices at the fast rate. Don't use USB-C, because they actually are, most of them are USB type A, unless you happen to buy an iPad Pro for some reason. So the conversation is based on somewhat of an interesting dilemma of, yeah, you have chargers, but are they going to charge your phone at the speed that they're intended to be, which is obviously either faster or even standard. Now, Xiaomi removing it from the box, as well as Samsung, I feel like it's more of a trend, similar to what we saw with the headphone jack kind of situation. But at the end of the day, I think this is what's going to happen. We have a way of judging, or not judging, but basically deciding with our wallet. If we decide to buy more of these devices that have no chargers in them, and obviously, or we don't buy chargers from the main manufacturer, we end up going with third-party chargers. Because for the most part, just for reference, a lot of companies are using PD chargers. So power delivery chargers are very, very well known now, and very much available in many, many places. There is a chance that we'll notice that there obviously that's a way for us to basically communicate our demands or what's going on. So the short answer, it's one thing for Apple to accept 5G on their technology and be saying, okay, look, 5G is becoming mainstream. It's another thing for Apple to remove something from their customers, and then other companies and other manufacturers seeing that as an indication that should be done on theirs. I think there's no correlation. The follow just doesn't make sense to me, because had they ignored what Apple did on the charger concept, everybody would have been fine. The only people impacted by it, obviously, people that are buying iPhones. It's not going to impact an Android user if it was obviously just done by Apple. But now with other companies bringing it in, it's making everybody feel the same pinch. We lost the headphone jack at one point, but the prices keep going up. Batteries are not going as big as they could. And of course, now we're in a situation where we have to fork up another, $45 to $50 for a custom charger, because standard chargers don't do it, to be able to get the speeds. So we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, I think, okay, so I think I may have jumped through something. Davin, sometimes I think these manufacturers are all in together and Apple takes the lead. I do feel like I feel like it is a situation where most of them are, they almost like, they watch, it's like, hey, what did he do today? What did he answer? What was the answer on question 1? And they end up basically following the conversation. Oh, apparently I froze for a second. Sorry. Da, 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 da. Oh well, TK, they did say return the phone, not anything else, right? They did say that. That's true. The phone must come back. They did not say include the box and every. No, I'm just kidding. We'll have to see. Yeah, I'm sure. Davin says that's why I don't like what Apple did with the AirPod Max by adjusting. Oh, sorry, by abusing their position. You'll see them do stuff, and 6 months later, Android OEMs follow suit. It is. Yeah, it's. And it's weird when you see OEMs, like specific OEMs that are in the current process right now of deleting a lot of their ads that they released right after Apple released their update and made fun of Apple for doing what they did with the whole not included in the box situation. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. And going to that situation and then now removing all their ads because they are now not including it in the box also. So it's like, why would you take a stab at something that you yourself are going to basically be doing the exact same thing? So it's one of those funny situations that I don't understand, but I always wonder. Somewhat, I don't want to call it the hypocrisy of things, but essentially it's like, yeah, don't want to do that when you don't have that. Matt's loving the phone. Yeah, definitely. No, dude, I was super surprised because when they said China only, I was assuming it wasn't even going to pick up 5G. It wasn't going to work here. Nah, cell service, everything. Absolutely fantastic. I'm loading up some games on it. I'm going to play some more. Chemi's in the comment. Hey, man, how you doing? And it definitely looks really nice. Greg, I think you encapsulated that beautifully. It is definitely a sexy phone. No questions about that. What's the Apple Okay, so Davin is jumping back in real quick here. Let me see here. That's why Apple markets that way, and it gives them the path, or the path of least resistance. It's just so shameful. Apple's been known to do the whole, shifting gears and moving around and doing things. I think the overall move to no charger in the box is a pure money grab conversation. It is not done to save the environment. It is not done to reduce carbon footprint. It's done so that they can pack more iPhones in a box to ship from market to from one place to the other. Because the physical size of the box shrunk, which means whatever container they were using to ship a certain number of iPhones. An example would be, let's say they were able to ship 100,000 pieces in one container. Now they're able to go to 150 because of the reduction in size, because the charger is not included, and therefore obviously be able to transport more. On top of the fact that now every phone that's sold will more than likely also be sold with a charger, means it's an upsell. So that $1,100 iPhone that you just picked up that doesn't have the fast charger with it, it has now another $40 to $50 an upsell to get a brand new faster charger. Because it's not even that the standard charger is the one that you're going to go. You're more than likely, in the way they're doing it, is that they're going to try to get you to go with the faster charger to truly benefit the speed. So that was my initial thing, and I don't know why we're seeing it in this situation. Android, I would say, may not be as much in the same position. There's a lot more options for Android to be able to charge from. And I feel like even with the new chargers, we've been USB-C for quite some time. So the fast charger from the Galaxy S20 Ultra, the 25 watt, will work with the new version of the Samsung devices. Now, if they're shifting to 45 to everything, then that's a different situation, but we should be okay, at least if you're upgrading. Oops, sorry, that boot screen looks amazing. Joey's loving that one as well. Dang, it looked almost like it was booting up Linux. I know. I looked at it. It just looks very nice. It's pretty much very much pulling a lot from the game, and I feel like the design was done immaculately. It's one of those things I love about that. Did they add the boot up? Did they add to the boot up time? How does it look? But why? It does a little bit. It doesn't add a lot. I think overall, when you compare the standard AT and this one, the visuals is, I think, the original thing. The only thing I would say is, like, you're looking at the visuals, so ever so slightly slower, but not enough for it to basically be like this whole concept. Because in theory, you're not really rebooting your phone all the time. Generally, and if, at least for me, I reboot my phone once a week, and for me, that should not be a problem. IR is jumping back in. Davin is up back to Davin Davis there. Also, those higher ups who should be speaking, who should be speaking up against this speaks volumes for the state of society. It is very interesting. It is definitely very interesting how things are moving in at the end of this year. Sorry, Matt's responding back to Aditya. It's definitely a very, very, very nice. Uh, Remember, Aditya, this phone would be for true cyberpunk fans. Guys, no, I actually picked up a skin. I forgot the name of the company. It was off of Etsy, but I even got the skin to wrap around my Series X and the controllers. Although I didn't have it on the Series X, which is weird, but I wanted to see more of that cyberpunk experience. Like I didn't find any PC accessories that would definitely feed into that. But it is, if you love the game, if you like playing it, and I'm playing it now for the second time because I finished the first one, I'm going through the second round around, to be able to get that running. Oh man, let me see here. I think Greg, I love it. I feel like the char. Yeah, so that was one thing I was surprised. So I don't know if it, like, yeah, right. Like I think the charger. If there was one thing, I think what we've seen in other like custom phones is they include a custom cable and a custom charger. These, oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I take that back. I take that back. The charger is custom. Sorry. Here you go. Let's see if we can get it. It is a Cyberpunk 2077 charger. So the charger is definitely unique. It's just the cable that is standard. Well, standard OnePlus cable. That's the only way I can say it. It's not a. I was expecting it to be yellow, but I could be wrong. But again, you know what? this guy. See, I mean, oh man, look at that. See, look right there. It's Cyberpunk 2077 coming to a PC near you, with many, many patches to follow. No, sorry, that was my edition of following there. IR. Truth be told, many of these companies see consumers as walking ATMs, and I think at some point, and I think the EU is trying to push more protection laws for consumers. The US, we're sadly not at the same level. I think, yeah, the EU for sure are definitely pushing it. I've never played the game as it runs badly on the PS5. Awful. But man, I want that phone. You and me both, man. You and me both. I feel like I should just basically put back this OnePlus 8T and just hope they don't notice. Whoever opens the box next, they'll be like, wait, this OnePlus 8T looks the same as the regular OnePlus 8T. Where is the Cyberpunk? Oh man, no, they would never talk to me after that if I did that. Oh man, charging meant to remind fans who is OnePlus. That, yeah, I agree. The red and white color are their traditional colors, but I felt like, and as far as making such a unique device, a cable would have been one of the very least things. Like I feel like sorry, Joey. I feel like the Nord smartphones from OnePlus should be coming with a blue cable. This should be blue for Nord, because Nord is all about that blue coloring going on, or that pastel green, or depending on what color you guys look at it and see it. So that was something I felt like this should have been done there as well. Xiaomi announced no charger for the Mi 11. Yes, and I think we saw that when Samsung's following suit. I don't know. Realistically, I mean, they're going to be releasing faster charging. We are going to see more chargers around the 100 watt, the 125 watts. Those things are not cheap. And again, if you're importing this phone, if you're buying it from somewhere, now you have to make sure to buy it with a charger, get a charger that does work. But it's another $50 to $60 that you historically haven't had to pay. And unless they give you somewhat of a discount at the time when you're buying it, what I feel like they should be doing is that if you buy the phone with the charger, you get it at a discount, just to kind of bridge us over to this next transition phase. Because wireless chargers are not there. The OnePlus 8T doesn't have it. Xiaomi doesn't always have wireless charging, so we'll have to see. But we'll have to see how that goes there. Oppo and OnePlus's parent companies know how to do special edition phones. They're always so good looking. Absolutely, yeah. So OnePlus and Oppo both have been doing this for quite some time, and I love those. And it's one of those things you have to appreciate. They always do come around, and I like that they center it around games. It's monkey see, monkey do, Greg. I'm with you, man. It's just a cost benefit for phone manufacturers. The boxes can be way smaller, and the weight is less as well. Absolutely, and that's what I was kind of like connecting the scenario to it. If the packaging is smaller, you're able to fit more units per box. So the containers, the physical transport containers from one area to another, where because of size limitation, you were able only to put in maybe 10 units in a box. you're able to probably go now 13 to 14 units, which is that's a big increase in profit for them because they're able to move more hardware. So it may help them feed into at least or address demand a little bit better. But again, there's going to be more shipments now of chargers that we didn't have to buy them before. They weren't being sold as much before. Now they're just not putting them in the box. They're selling it to you separately, which again, it's not like it's not, I don't understand where the conversation of this is helping the environment comes around, because you're still buying it. It's still a box. It's just a separate box. So anyways, when I heard that one at the time of the announcement, I felt like it's just a bad direction, because as you guys mentioned, you see that, you hear the conversation, and then you see that generally in theory, this is something that a lot of other OEMs are going to carry with, which may, again, in situations like I have multiple 65-watt chargers from my Oppo devices and so on. It doesn't really hurt me that I don't have if I don't get a phone with a charger that has that. But the average, I would say, person that's considering getting this that didn't have a fast charger from other devices, and this would be their first fast device, let's say the Mi 11, that's going to be a big decision maker there, that they have to actually pay that much more money. Aditya, jumping back with Joe and Matt, my experience has taught me that never rock a phone naked or even looks. Looks are useless for me. So definitely a case type of a phone. This is definitely a case. It does protect all the different areas, and it raises the camera very little. So it does have a little bit of protection. I like it, but it's not going to be one of those heavy, super protective cases. Let me see here. I'm creeping on all the boxes TK has in the background. and weird enough, not most of the boxes in the background are not actually for devices that I still have, this is somewhat of it's a wall that I started to put together many years ago, and it just never goes away. And I just recently sold my my Note 10 from last year, so I had to take that box down, and then now I have a hole sitting on the right side that you guys can't see. When Apple introduced wireless charging on the iPhone 8, it would be interesting to see how many phone users take advantage of a wireless charging feature. I think that at the time when the OnePlus, when Apple released it, it wasn't intended to be the fastest charging connection. It was there, it was available, and it did provide you more of a top off. But I don't think they were ever intending for it to be a fast charging. Because even with the chargers that they tried to put, I mean, we never saw Apple, AirPower. AirPower never really materialized. So I think what they did is what they did at the time was introduce us to an alternative form of charging. Took a couple of cycles, and now they're obviously removing the charger out of the box. I don't know if that means at some point we're going to be getting a phone from Apple that doesn't have an actual port at the end, but at least at this point, this is what it seems like. It essentially is, bring your own charger, BYOC, bring your own charger kind of a conversation going on. Let me see, where are we here? Oh, wow, dude. Okay, I missed a whole bunch of different things. Okay. I tend to rock my phone with with clothes on a Okay, all jokes aside, for real, I use a case and a screen protector. Same here, glass protector all the way. I mean, my OnePlus 8T here, glass protection on the front, obviously the main case, the best case that they had out there. Not everybody likes this one, but that's how I rock on this one. This is definitely very nice. El Josa, thank you very much. Always appreciated. Okay, so it's a great question. What is one device that you're the most looking forward to in 2021? For sure, the Find X3 Pro. I'm interested to see what Oppo is going to be doing there. Conversely, because that kind of also permeates through to whatever the 8, whatever the 9 Pro ends up being. So we'll have to see how those two devices. I think the other one that I'm also really much interested to see is, and it's not necessarily a device, but more so a foldable device, actually rollable device that we saw some, I would say, hints about it. And that was essentially the Oppo one, so the Oppo Find X, I think. No, not the Oppo X 2021. That was that we saw some teasers on it at the Oppo Development Conference at the end of this month, actually. And that was one. And then the other one was the one from LG. They both had similar technologies where the device doesn't actually open up. So it's not a folding. It's more of a rolling situation. So I'm interested to see how those devices function, because I feel like With that type of tech, we would eliminate the need for it to have a crease in the middle. The actual display is entirely encompassed on the inside, protected on both sides. So you'll have a hard shell on the back, similar to more standard devices. It'll obviously be a little bit thicker, but I'm interested to see what those devices have to offer, and of course provide us. And thank you again very much for the super chat there, man. I always appreciate it. So many rumors about a Pixel 5 Pro. I know. I saw that one. Joe's jumping on that. What are your thoughts on it? I can't see it happening. So from everything we've known from Google and from Pixel, if this was going to happen, it would have already happened. There's really a very small chance that there is a Pixel 5 Pro that's coming up from Google in 2021, when this will be obviously the year of the 888 and more series. So to see Google releasing a top of the line flagship in 2021 with last year's processor, it's a little bit, I'm not sure if that would happen. If there's a possibility of a Pro series with the, for the Pixel 6, maybe Pixel 6 Pro, we'll have to see. But more than likely, it'll probably be a bigger version of what we have, with obviously more Pro features, maybe better cameras, bigger batteries, higher refresh rate, with a higher QHD resolution display like we used to have. Interested to see what they do. Definitely, for sure. Greg, dude, thank you. You deserve this, TK, as much as we do. We appreciate it. And I appreciate your support always, Greg, and everybody else hanging out with us here on Saturday, the 26th of December. So it is basically 12/26. So 1226 in the US. That's where we go for month, day, and then of course years 21. So 122621. A lot of twos and a lot of ones. I love it. And again, thank you very much, Greg. Always appreciate it, man. Very much looking forward to the Xperia 2, the Xperia 1 Mark III. So we'll have to see what they do. This is very interesting. Xperia Mark II, Xperia 1 Mark II, which, by the way, I'm hitting refresh on every single day now. I'm trying to get the Android 11 update to that. Has had a lot of success, a lot of things, and I loved all of the things that they've done with it. What I would love to be able to see in 2021, obviously, is what the Xperia 1 Mark III does. The improvements on the camera. Will they actually finally go with a slightly bigger sensor? Similar maybe situation, triple camera sensor, same way. But I would love to see if there's anything else that they were able to improve. Although I understand that it's not a priority for them, but I want to be able to see improvements on the front-facing camera. I feel like that was by far the biggest. If there was one thing to be said about the Xperia line this year, is that the front-facing camera just did not get any love. And I feel like there's a lot of people that would have appreciated having Cinema Pro or Photography Pro work on the front-facing sensor. So that would be my hope for 2021, is just some slight improvements on the cameras there. Extreme Skins, that's who should be that's who it should be from. I would love to see if Extreme Skins start doing some type of definitely some Cyberpunk skins. I would love to be able to pick up a few of those. I couldn't see it. I went through their portfolio for the PS5, but I don't think they do anything for the Xbox Series X yet. Aditya is jumping back. Interesting question. I would guess that the cost of manufacturing the FE should be significantly cheaper, and if you look at the right place, you could find a cheap leather case. Okay, so I think there's a question there I may have missed. Wonder. Okay, what would cost more, premium build or given FE a leather case? I agree. I think, Aditya, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, no, the FE should definitely be a lot less to manufacture. It's an S20. If for the better, realistically, I mean, it's essentially a remnants of what we saw with the S20 line, but it's more affordable at the $600, $599 price point. I wish that we just had it a little bit earlier than just having it released at the end of the year, because we're pretty close to the S21 line. Chemi's asking, okay, so I was looking for the info, but remember back when the EU was requiring for all phones to use the same micro USB port, the thing was because of the waste, and also that something for laptops. I think I vaguely remember the requirement on that, but at the end of the day, it's more about what they're offering us and what they're taking away. They're not really offering us a better solution. Yes, we have USB-C on everything that is Android, and I think that makes life a little bit easier. So you don't have to buy a special cable. They do provide the cables in the box. But at the end of the day, when we're looking at things like this, we are paying more money year over year. Devices get more expensive. And of course, we're now paying more and more because we have to buy an extra charger. at a rate that we probably didn't need to. So those are the things. But I understand the statement that they made that they don't want to be putting more chargers out there is a little bit yes and no. You're not putting more chargers out there, but if your agents at the store, when you're buying the phone, are trying to sell you the higher end model, meaning you're buying the faster charger, that charger would not have been included in the box anyways. So you were going to upsell people anyways. They're not being sold on the chargers, the standard chargers, unless they already have them. So we'll have to see. Oh, John's, yeah, definitely. I agree. They should have a discount. If they're going to include it and you're pre-ordering or you're buying it directly from their site, there's no reason why a combination of the phone with the charger doesn't include this somewhat of a discount. So it's not like there's not any improvement in the ecosystem if they're standardized it. They can still, no, the technology is definitely being pushed by the OEMs, but it's also pushed by like companies like Qualcomm or MediaTek or Huawei. They're the ones pushing the faster technology, and they're mostly on the chipset manufacturing. Now, Huawei obviously produces the Kirin chip as well as the hardware for their devices. But like, companies like Oppo, OnePlus, and so on, where they rely on Qualcomm chips, Qualcomm is pushing the limits with their charging technology. Greg came back. This one is a ROM at Matt Tyler. The eye got you back, Matt. Yeah, no. I think we probably all caught that one, Greg. I appreciate that, man. Always appreciate it. Let me see here real quick. Greg, you gotta respect it, man. You gotta respect the Greg. IR is jumping back here. Time for companies like Anker, Aukey, and RAV Power, etc., to take advantage of the charger situation. Absolutely, that's their bread and butter. And I think if not anything, I'm actually still interested to see why have we not seen third-party cases and chargers for the AirPod Maxes. Like there's almost no accessories, no aftermarket things, which I feel like Apple's been known for, right? But that's probably one of the reasons why I felt like it wasn't really intended to be released in December. I felt like this was done more like, hey, what are we doing this weekend? Let's release the AirPod Max. And they did. So we'll have to see. You scratch my back. I appreciate it, man. Always appreciate it. Damon, always helpful. Dude, Joe, man, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, man. Merry Christmas to you and the fam, of course. Treat yourself to an advent calendar next time. You deserve it. Merry Christmas and a great community. Hashtag TKception, TKRBay. With that being said, I realize we are at the 1 hour and a half mark. Let me see how far we have. How many more comments do I have? I don't think I have Oh, wow, there's quite a few. I'll make sure to bring it back up, Joe, definitely, for sure. Thank you very much for the super chat. And we'll definitely make sure to get Goku's advent calendar. It's always one of those fun things because they include very nice little trinkets there. Joey B saying, I go through so many devices, I don't use anything that is in the box. Ready for the next user when time sells. Aukey for life. So I'm a little bit with you on that. 90% of my devices, like at least the devices that I know are iteration style. So right at the beginning of the year when I bought my S20 Ultra, I bought the additional charger. I did buy the extra charger, the 45-watt charger for that. And from that day till now, I haven't used any charger from a Samsung phone that comes in the box. And that's because the 45-watt charger works at 25 for everything else. So I'm with you. We don't typically tend to take them out. I don't think that maybe you or I or the majority of the guys of our audience right now, or the guys that are hanging out with us, are really the standard that I think that the average user would probably look into it. If you go through what we go through and we change as many devices, that's something you can appreciate. That obviously it may not impact you as much. But for a person that is upgrading to this device after having another device for 2 years, their charger will in no way or shape or form be able to provide the full potential charging speed at the new device. So they would have to buy a new phone, a new charger, which will be another cost. So it's something to keep in mind. But I agree. I don't always use the main charger, with the exception of this guy. So the OnePlus 8T, I do need to use the 65-watt charger because no other charger that I have. It's a proprietary, I would say, OnePlus / Oppo technology. So that's something unique to them, that even if I had a 65-watt charger from another company, it may not give us the same throughput. So that's something to keep in mind. Joey, I think, is getting a couple of comments back. IR. Oh man, Joey's yes. So Joe's commenting back says, "I'm a big fan of Anchor and Soundcore. Excellent products and reasonable prices." Hands down, yes. Anchor for years has been, if anything, very much an innovator in when it comes to battery tech, capacity, charging speeds, availability, hardware, and there's been a lot of improvements done outside of phone companies this year for charging tech. That's something to be appreciated. I reviewed a couple of chargers on the channel this year that had very fast chargers that are able actually even to charge up our MacBooks if you have a MacBook or if you're a Mac user. So definitely for sure, those companies are always going to be the ones that hold up the backbone of all of our users. TK, I saw a new rumor about display getting tweaked on the Xperia 1 Mark III. I think those are always going to be the situations, the improvements on the display. I wonder if they're going to be able to push faster frame rates out of that display, because I think that was the biggest thing a lot of us were. I mean, we saw the 90 the interpolation option that they included in the Xperia 1 Mark II, but I think for gaming, Sony made it very clear that the Xperia 5 was going to be their gaming phone for this year, and the Xperia 1 is for media. So those two kind of give you that experience. But for me, the biggest thing that I'm waiting for from the Android 11 update, I want to finally get the 4K 120 on the Xperia 1 Mark II, because that was something that was released with the Xperia 5, but never pushed up as an update to the Xperia 1. And from what I'm seeing is that supposedly that's going to be part of the Android 11 update. So we'll have to see how that goes. Joe say I've never had an Aki product, but always hear great things about from Davin. I've been a great fan of them. I have a couple of chargers in there. I have also some of their headphones. They've been around for quite some time. They're big in the U.S. Aki sound. Sorry. I forgot the there's so basically Anchor and Aki are the two major one. Oh, and RAV Power. Always RAV Power. I always get a chance to get in touch with them as well. Davin's like too many chargers in the box. Anoop, Dilip, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I started recording a song on my voice recorder on the phone, and after I moved away from the phone, the sound decreased to low as it can be to null. Couldn't hear anything I recorded after. Well, that happens with proximity, if I'm not mistaken. Are you? Yeah, as you move. So obviously, at some point it stops, or unless you had some ambient sound around it, that would also be there, or it could just be too low for you to hear it. So that means transfer it to a PC and boost the audio if you want to be able to hear it from further away. But the smartphone microphones are intended to be for close proximity. They're not really meant for distance recording. So they're not a directional, they're not a shotgun type of microphone. If you want to be able to improve that experience, I would recommend an external mic connected to your device and recording the audio from it. And if you have more of a directional microphone, it should work from a distance. So maybe that helps. Let's see here. So also I forgot that there's a cheap USB to 3.5 jack dongle that works on my Pixel 5 in the end, TK. Oh, good. I'm fine. I'm glad that you were able to find one, because those are the ones we always need. They don't include those anymore in there. Let me see here. It depends if you're using voice to text there. Wherefore it works, fine, calls, no more, please. Okay. I moved away from the phone. Seems okay. Same thing happened when I tried to send the voice message on WhatsApp, and when I play Call of Duty, the teammates couldn't hear my voice, as it kept my phone in. Moved to okay. I would probably say let's connect on this a little bit. It's a little bit hard to try to work it in the middle of a video, but if you're having problems with microphone pickup on your device, I would make sure to first and foremost maybe disable any kind of extra features that you may have, and also make sure that your microphone is not being used by multiple applications. Meaning, if you're using a chat app or if you're using something that could be taking the mic privilege away, so maybe just disable those so that your microphone is not trying to do double duty there. I'm assuming that I really don't. I'm not sure why the audio would go out, but we would need to know a little bit more about that one. So yeah. So, okay, I think we're getting to that point. We're almost at that level. I don't want to forget the, Flash, if there's a new Flash on the Amazon, always. Okay, so I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys got me. You got me. We're getting there. Let's do it. We're going to do it now. Let's go ahead and bring it up here. And we're going to kick it off with our buddy Aditya, as always. We always have to remember to do the inception, the TKception. So here we are. Share and whoa. Come on. Yes. There's that timing. It always comes. I want to say always, as usual, thank you very much to Aditya for hanging out with us. Of course, Aditya, hashtag or TKRBay, as always. Davin Davis, always hanging out with all of us here. And of course, new to Twitch 2020, always appreciate you having the time to spend with us here on this Boxing Day or December 26th, depending if you celebrate it. IR 1980, always nice. Thank you very much. Matt Tyler, as always. Oh my God. Oh, TKception, TKRBay, TK the man, the legend. Thank you. Juan Bagnell, of course, some LG chill guy. We'll have another episode soon. And of course, some punchable face guy. Very much, man. Always appreciated everybody in the chat. Joe, everybody in there, and of course Joey, as it always is. We do many things in life, but I have to say this, that the live stream alone has been very, very much a therapeutic thing for me, a very nice way for me to connect, for us to hang out, for us to chit chat and kind of catch up on the things that are going on. It's one of the things I appreciate, and I want to say still thank you very much to OnePlus for this amazing Christmas surprise. I would say that was very much a Christmas surprise, because I had no idea when it was coming. I didn't even know it was coming, and it shows up, and it absolutely is a beauty. There is no question about how nice this device is and how well all the optimizations that were done here. Let's go ahead and bring this in. If I can, I need to kind of get out of optimizations. You get the samurai sitting in there, the theme, the configuration, the speed, overall everything in there. It just looks really, really, really nice. Cyberpunk 2077, big fan. Of course, everybody, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Joey, thank you, TK, Davin, everyone for engaging in the live stream as always. And of course, Derby, good day. See everybody else in there. See you all next year as usual. Don't forget tomorrow, Saturday, across the podcast with Matt and Sam. This is the best way to end the work day on Boxing Day. TK is awesome always, guys. Thank you very, very much. And so again, tomorrow, Matt and Sam, they're actually going to be also the same thing. So their last podcast of this year. Let's not forget also on Monday, we have Juan Carlos's last live stream of the year. And if we're going to try to shoot for another live stream with the best of our week next Wednesday, not Thursday, mostly because of, again, Thursday will be, New Year's Eve. So a lot of people will be spending that time with family. So with that being said, thank you very much again to Matt, to IR, to Greg, to Joe, to Aditya, as always. And of course, always appreciate everybody's showing all the showing the love. Actually, today, for some reason, I didn't drink as much. I love this. I switched over to a Crush, Orange Crush, if you guys are familiar with it. It's very, very nice. They're still working on the guest list for tomorrow. We'll try to see what we could do, and we'll have to make sure to catch the show. So Matt and Sam across the podcast. Thank you to everybody. Chemi, of course, in the comments. Aljosa, Joey, Joe, Matt, of course, new to Twitch, of course, 2020. Davin Davis. I'm trying to catch everybody. Anoop is in there, of course, as well. Davin. Joey, everybody, and of course for everybody with the super chat, with the love and the support. I'll see you guys next year. Be safe, be healthy, have fun with the family, and hope you guys got what you were looking for, what you wanted, and what you anticipated for Christmas. If you celebrated, if not, I hope you guys are able to get what you need and all of the good things, and positive thoughts to everybody. That's the best way I'm going to say. Let's end the year on positive thoughts so that we can hopefully turn it around and make 2021 the year that everybody remembers that we wanted 2020 to be. Take care. I'll see you guys soon. Again, thank you very much for the support, and be safe. Bye-bye for now.